Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Allen Avenue Unitarian Universalist Church. Whether today is your first time here or you've been coming for years, we're so glad you're with us. My name is Bill, my pronouns are he, him, and I'm serving as this morning's worship associate. Today I'm excited to introduce our guest preacher, Kai Flannery. Kai, a Buddhist humanist UU chaplain, joins us from Bangor, where they serve as the spiritual care manager at Eastern Maine Medical Center. Welcome to A2U2, Kai. Here at A2U2, we are growing a community that transforms lives through the power of love. Our mission calls us to celebrate diversity, encourage spiritual growth, and promote social responsibility while we travel on and care for the earth. A special welcome to those at home who are joining us on Zoom today. If you're attending for the first time, please fill out the welcome card on our website so we can get to know you. There's only a couple of announcements. The first one says thanks so much to everyone who is contributing to our November food drive for Project Feed. Next week, we'll be collecting peanut butter and dish detergent. If you would like to participate in a meal packing event at Trinity Episcopal Church in Portland on Sunday, the 23rd at 12:45, stop by the social justice table. Julie Harrison will have a sign-up sheet. This is a fun, family-friendly way to help feed hungry people in our community. Beyond our immediate community, World Central Kitchen in D.C. has set up operations to feed federal workers. For the past 3 weeks, they have given hundreds of pre-packed meals to workers. If you would like to learn how to contribute to this effort, there is information on the social justice table. Second announcement. Please join us for a Thanksgiving potluck at 1:30 on Thanksgiving Day. A sign-up is in the foyer. See you then. Now, we invite you all to take this opportunity to silence your cell phones so that we can all be fully present to one another. After the service, please grab a cup of coffee or tea and stay for conversation, or head down to the end of the long hallway to join a group for the brown bag brunch. Those on Zoom may stay on and connect with one another. And now, let us center our hearts and minds with the sound of the singing bowl.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of believing. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Thank you, friends.
As we light our sanctuary chalice this morning, those joining on Zoom are invited to light a chalice or candle near you to connect us more deeply with one another. In betwixt and in between, we move in the liminal spaces that show shades of what we can become, what we can be. We light this chalice as a symbol of courage to move into that time of this and that, and not this and not that, with patience and faith and love and hope, that this time will pass like the sun that moves in between rising and setting, and reminding us that beauty resounds in betwixt and in between. Our opening hymn this morning is Voice Still and Small, number 391 in your gray hymnal and up on the screen. Dell will play it through once, and then you're invited to rise in body or spirit to join in singing.
Would join me at this moment for a time of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love, we are here in witness with one another, the ones in this room and this Zoom room, and the ones beyond our sight. We know that some of us carry what is quite heavy today. Hunger and illness, fear and uncertainty about the future. And in this moment, we ask for a love larger than ourselves, larger even than this community. To hold us, to hold our hand through this, and to help us to hold one another's hands as well. This is our prayer. This is our hope. In the name of all holy things. Amen.
Now is when we engage in the spiritual practice of generosity. Our gifts support our ministry and our work in the broader community. Each week, 1/3 of our plate is given to a local nonprofit organization who's also working to advance our shared values. This month, we're sharing the plate with the Immigrant Legal Advocacy Project. ILAP, a volunteer organization begun over 30 years ago, has grown into 2 dedicated offices in Portland and Lewiston. The Immigrant Legal Advocacy Project helps low-income immigrants improve their legal status. ILAP also works toward more just and humane immigrant policies. Everyone can donate now in person or through our website's Donate or Share the Plate button. If online, be sure to specify the Give the Plate option on Breeze. If you're visiting for the first time this morning, please know that your presence is gift enough. At this time, our offering will be collected and gratefully received.
Beautiful reflection in music. Thank you. Our reading today comes from the Tao Te Ching, verse 8. There are many different translations, and this is one. A person of great virtue is like the flowing water. Water benefits all things and contends not with them. It puts itself in a place that no one wishes to be, and thus is closest to the way. A virtuous person is like water, which adapts itself to the perfect place. Their mind is like the deep water that is calm and peaceful. Their heart is kind like water, which benefits all. Their words are sincere like the constant flow of water. Their governance is natural without desire, like the softness of water that penetrates hard rocks. All right, can everybody hear me okay? Is that better? Okay, good. So I'm so glad to be here with you all this morning, and it may not surprise you to know that I have felt so warmly welcomed, and I feel really grateful for you. So thank you, and thank you for this morning. I named the sermon this morning, or our talk, about one of the things I love about being a chaplain at the hospital, getting to say the quiet part out loud. So maybe we build trust with someone for a long time, and then you can finally ask a gentle but difficult question. Or maybe you're saying a prayer with someone, a prayer that is gratitude and hopes and needs and what we wish for one another. We just get to put words to that. Sometimes that's a chance to ask for a bigger heart than we fear we have, or a better future than we expect, or a deeper peace than we know right now. And at the hospital, too, I noticed that a family system relies on many things not said aloud. And sometimes as a chaplain, you get to speak to those pieces, too. Again, trying to bring the utmost gentleness. I remember working on one of my regular units, and the nurses were starting to feel a little stressed as they were caring for a family where the dad had been sick for a very long time. And he was struggling to breathe every day. The patient and the family were doing all their best. I don't want to call him the patient, I'll call him the dad. The dad and the family were doing all their best to make decisions that would prolong his life. And his kids were in their 20s. This family was an atheist family. And so I didn't know at first if they would let me in the door, just because I have that label of chaplain. They don't know that I'm agnostic myself and a Unitarian, but when I told them about meditation, they were very interested. And it was a time for us to work out the safest place that their family had ever been, that they had felt happiest and most relaxed, to try and breathe some of that relaxation into his lungs, which were at about 8% capacity at that point. So it's just sort of like not to try to breathe deeply, but to actively relax so that whatever breathing could be done could happen. And so I just remember that family, like all of our families, really don't always know how to articulate the complexity of their life together. I could observe this dad, sort of morose and determined, like holding on tight, really wanting to stay as long as he could. His son and daughter and wife hovering and speaking for him, trying to really focus on him, encouraging him to try things that will keep him going each day. This family's unspoken agreement seemed to be toughness, that any moment everybody knew that he could be transitioning out of this life. But he's fighting to stay present with his family for as long as he could. The nurses didn't understand why. Why is he eating and drinking? Why is his family trying to keep him here? And part of their story that I learned was that they had immigrated as when the kids were probably in late elementary school, and that every part of their life had been hard. Just getting here had been hard. Having jobs, learning a new language as adults, working at jobs that weren't up to what they had in their home country, trying to make friends and bridge cultural connections. Every piece had been hard, and they had to really push themselves at every step of the way. And it wasn't a surprise any longer that in this process of letting go and allowing him to let go, they were still pushing one another. Okay, we can do this. Keep going, right? And when we understand that kind of logic for ourselves or for our family, suddenly compassion is the only choice, because we understand what they're working with, right? And also, so for the nurses, when I could name the path that the family was on, number one, it helped the family to see what they were doing, right? But when we could also name to other people surrounding them, this is the path that they're on, this is what they're working with, it gives them a chance to understand that path and also maybe to choose a different one at some point, right? I think this is a beautiful function of ethics at the hospital. Medical ethics is sort of, the name of the game is allowing people to say the quiet part out loud. The nurse is worried, this person isn't benefiting from my care and it's not getting better. Or the family is feeling, this is how we thought this would go. Or we feel like you might be withholding some better option from us. Getting a chance to say that in a calm space, right? Also, when we say the quiet part, we need to be able to present our evidence. And medical ethics works from 4 principles: not hurting, helping, which are separate, and then justice and patient autonomy. So just looking at all these different places and trying to really speak in a shared way to what we're trying to do here, right? And I think the touchstone places where we can bring up what matters most in a trusted space in love are really important. I don't know if folks here have done OWL. Have you done OWL? You've been part of it in some way, either taken the class or taught the class. And I get today to help test out some of the new curriculum in Yarmouth with maybe some of your kids there as well. And they have an anonymous question box. That is a place of wonder and hilarity and magic. But it's a space to ask hard questions, to put into words things that have been on your mind, saying the quiet part out loud. Prioritizing these touchstone spaces is so important, I feel. I'm a humanist, and we learn a lot by paying attention to relationship and the people around us, the beings around us, and from our own experience, right? Really learning from that. Atheists can get a reputation for confrontational approaches to truth and fudging and fantasy. But what I love most are the folks who keep wonder and mystery really as the guiding principles of belief or non-belief. And there are folks like that in every wisdom tradition, and I think many of you here in this room keep wonder and belief at the center of your heart. A hero of mine that you might also share is Carl Sagan. Did you know today is Carl Sagan Day? Yeah, November 9th. Pretty cool. He was really good at saying the quiet part out loud. He spent his storied career looking at the world around us and beyond us and lifting up articulately just the wonder and the mystery of it. In this mid-90s interview with Charlie Rose, Carl Sagan said, "A society where we all depend on technology and yet do not understand it is a, quote, combustible mixture of ignorance and power." And he went on to say that, quote, "Science is more than a body of knowledge. It's a way of skeptically interrogating the universe with a fine understanding of human fallibility. If we are not taught to be skeptical of those in authority, then we're up for grabs for the next charlatan, political or religious, who comes ambling along." Yes. That quote is nourishing, right? Just like a drink of water. We realize, thank you. Yes, thank you for saying that out loud. The highest good, the virtuous person is like water. The truth is like water. It goes where it is needed. And indeed, if you're a Bible person, in the Beatitudes, there's that beautiful blessing. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. And our hunger and thirst is real. And I will say that sometimes I myself, and maybe you, can get stuck on our righteousness part. a little bit. But the verse from the Tao continues that water benefits all things and contends not with them. Isn't that a lovely way of saying we don't necessarily punch our way forward? Our mind is like the deep water that is calm and peaceful. And in our hunger and our thirst for what is right, it can also help to check that what we believe is nourishing is really nourishing, or is really happening even. So in chaplain training, one example of this is called checking a mind read. Do people know about this concept? No, it's super interesting. It's like we're going along and we're having this dynamic and we're doing work with somebody, or maybe we're in a small group, which is how we were in chaplain training. And suddenly we get a vibe, or we look over at someone, or we get a look, or we something, and we feel like, oh, that person's annoyed with me, or that person's having a rough day, or that person wants me to do this, right? And so the checking of the mind read is the checking out of that unspoken dynamic, because we're mind reading them and we want to see if we've gotten it right. So sentences where we are checking out our mind reading start like, I noticed, or the conclusion that I draw from this, and then it ends usually with, am I right about that, or am I wrong about that? Giving them a chance to really speak back to us and say, oh no, I was thinking about my lunch, which wasn't as good as I hoped. Right? Or whatever the case may be. I remember at the time my supervisor was gruff and stressed, and I was trying to take some silent retreat time after Christmas, and I felt very beleaguered by this, and I thought, oh, he doesn't want me to take this, I shouldn't take it. And in group, I finally plucked up my courage in front of my classmates to ask, because we were encouraged to ask this in front of everyone. I feel that maybe you don't want me to go on this retreat because it's causing you extra scheduling stress. Nope, he said. He didn't elaborate. It was just like, nope. So I said he was gruff, but whatever vibe I was picking up on, though every part of me said, he doesn't want me to do this, I had his simple no to help guide me, right? Because a lot of times we're reaching out in the dark trying to do our best. This is actually the same skill that we use in reflective listening or active listening. What I'm hearing you say is, with the understanding that maybe they'll come back and say, nope. Gosh, you got that awfully wrong. And a good mind read or active listening intervention can actually upset people, right? So someone who's relying on an unspoken dynamic to have power. Sometimes to say a very simple, calm question can agitate people. And someone who at their baseline, at their basic everyday level feels belittled or attacked by everyone. Sometimes a simple question is enough to get a strong reaction. So I want you to be prepared for that if you try this at home, or not at home, in the world, wherever. But there are ways, I think, too, to contend not with others even more deeply. Sometimes saying the quiet part out loud is like asking everyone to say their name at the beginning of a meeting, right? Even if there's one new-ish person who might not be sure. Pronouns, as you all know, are saying the quiet part out loud, understanding that there's power in gender or vulnerability in saying, I may be something different than I appear. Saying that quiet part can be like water. It can give us all a shared level of beauty together. I don't know if you know the YouTube presenter Hank Green. Does anybody know Hank Green? Yeah, a few folks. Yeah. And he's just delightful, and he's a big science person. And this past week he had on Jeannie Hunter of the Society of St. Andrew Food Bank doing this work of feeding people. which you all are doing as well. She is in that work every day. She knows the complexities and the traps, and she's speaking clearly about where SNAP money comes from and where it goes, and offering some transparency. And there was a meme that they brought into that conversation, which was, we're going to keep starving people until you let us take their health care away. Yeah. So that's saying the quiet part out loud. And I think when we're faced with something like that, it elicits so many feelings for me, maybe for you as well, which we can meet with compassion. But also, as we've been drawing from some Taoism and some Zen Buddhism today, we can also meet it with some, what I will call chaotic good. Are people familiar with this idea? Okay. So there's a really good little radio lab about it, like from a couple years ago, which if you want to dig a little deeper, but basically in Dungeons and Dragons, when people are creating their characters, they look at this, they have a matrix, and it's lawful and chaotic, lawful versus chaotic, and good versus evil. So, and you get to be anywhere on the spectrum. You can be lawful good like Superman. You can be chaotic evil like Joker, or you can be any place in between, right? And there are many different versions of it, and it's gotten different, and people have added different, but I like this as a way of thinking, number one, that just because it's the law doesn't mean it's good, right? That those are different things in our minds. But also that just because we bring chaos doesn't mean we also don't bring joy and goodness. And in Zen Buddhism, one way of looking at one word that kind of points to this is mu. Mu is literally means no, or they do not have. So it's sort of like a blankness. It's kind of like if you've ever asked the question, what do you want for lunch? And your partner says yes. It's kind of like that. It's just mu. You sitting in the question, you're not opposed to the question, you agree, but you don't have the answer. You don't have a linear answer to it. Do you choose healthcare or food? Mu. November 9th, I learned, is also Chaos Never Dies Day. So this could give us chaos never dies. So this could give us some hope and energy in our chaotic goodness. Chaotic good can really say the quiet part out loud. So just to give you an example, I like to sing and play with a folk music group, and I'm the one who's 5 minutes late, and but I'm also like, hey guys, I know I didn't bring the sheet music, but do you want to try this song with me? You're going to love it. And we try it, and we love it, right? Usually. But then the guy who runs the group, who is exactly the right person to run the group, is like sending out the emails, has it all booked up, has all the chairs out in exactly the right place, always brings his sheet music, is absolutely lawful good. And I'm a little more chaotic, mostly good. And if we think about lawful evil, that's another one. We don't really deal with evil too much, but we've had to kind of confront evil lately. And you know Hannah Arendt's concept of the banality of evil. That's what that is. You're following the rules and you're doing something awful. So we fight that with lawful good, right? We can work with that, like that moment in the Incredibles movie where the dad who works at an insurance company gives this lady all this paperwork to fill out to figure out, and he says, sorry, and then he says, just so you know, this is the one sheet you really have to send back. Here it is. And helping her get through lawful good, right? But if we have chaotic evil in our faces, I feel like we have started to embrace chaotic good in a beautiful way with green frogs, green inflatable frogs. And there in Bangor, there were blow-up capybaras on No King's Day. Also, I was there, and there was the Black Bloc Antifa with the red and black signs giving away zines and baked goods, that felt like a lovely chaotic good. I feel like chaotic good, if you have to describe it in terms of energy, is almost like an annoyance. Like if you've ever done anger cleaning, you're just like, I'm doing this. But it's not really angry. It's just like, okay, I'm going to do this. And you're not going to even be able to catch me. And when I think of an example of that, I think of Thich Nhat Hanh, who is not chaotic. But the good that he was doing in this context, I felt was chaotic. He spoke out against the Vietnam War very eloquently, and because of that, he was not anyone's favorite person, not in his own nation, not in North Vietnam, not in France, and not in the US. There was just nobody was his fan. The South didn't like him because he advocated for nonviolence, and they were trying to fight the communists. The North were angry at him because he wasn't a communist. The US didn't like him because he called out colonialism. The rich and powerful didn't like him because he said out loud that they were allowing king-making by colonial powers. His own Buddhist school didn't like him as he advocated for unity across schools of Buddhism. So when you listen to his soft voice on a meditation, just know that his soft voice in this context was like a bumblebee. It was just going and buzzing and persistent and serious about peace and unity. But I specifically want to speak to his School of Youth for Social Services, which was part a school and part a university club. It was eventually shut down over time, but the SYSS continually rebuilt anything that had been bombed in their area. So maybe it was bombed again by another side because there were bombs raining from lots of different quarters, sometimes from 3 different sides. But they did not stop rebuilding. It was like chaos had moved from a destructive force, you never knew what was going to disappear, to a constructive one. Like you never knew when that community center was just going to pop right back up, right? Which I just gives me goosebumps. It's so inspiring. What we choose to say and do, you know that matters. And I will say that when we are trying to figure out which of the quiet parts to say out loud, sometimes we say what we want to be true in hopes that that will help it to become true. And then there's always the thing, like sometimes you re-gift something and you say too many words about it. You say like, my aunt gave me this and I don't really like it, but it kind of seems to fit your frame and these are your colors. Would you like it, right? And it's just like, all you had to say was, I thought of you, right? What do you think? And I love the way, speaking of saying the silent part out loud, that more American flags have shown up at progressive protests lately than in my whole memory of my 47 years. Along with Mexican flags and Palestinian flags and Canadian flags. And it's kind of like one of my favorite bumper stickers where they says, I love my country, but I think we should start seeing other people. It's a way with our actions, our words, that we're saying, no, you can't have it. This is ours too. Nationalism is one thing, but like being married, there is beauty in saying, this is the one I'm with, and I'm going to love this one, knowing the stumbles and falls and the difficult past. Another one you might like is the labor movement, the ones who brought you the weekend. Yeah. But it's like the song, Finlandia, that we're going to sing in a few minutes. That we have our hopes and our dreams and our loves, and so does everyone. Who is the water serving that highest good, asking the important questions and digging into important work? Let's support them. Who is feeding people and accompanying them? We are. One of the things that has really moved me, I'll close by saying, I'm new to Maine. One of the things that's really moved me about being in a hospital that serves many rural areas is the number of volunteer firefighters I've met. I've met a woman in her 80s who very matter-of-factly was just like, yep, for many decades I've been doing this. So it's just an important part of her community service in her rural town. So to be that person on the other end of the phone in any kind of weather, when someone needs us, to bring the water to a raging fire, when people are afraid or panicked or losing everything. This is how I think of chaplaincy, and this is how I think of our roles can be right now. I think we can all be chaplains, and I think we can all be the water. Now I'll close with a quote from the Tao Te Ching. Many words lead to exhaustion. Let us hold fast to our centers. Will you please join me in singing our final hymn? Number 159, this is our song. Let us go into the world with the patience of water, with the strength of water, with the persistence of water. Let us quench the thirst of the world we live in and quench our own hunger and thirst for righteousness. May it be so. Amen.